So what I'm going to do is make a large garland. Now I've made this before in these pink colors, and the vine part is 23.5 inches long. That's as long as I can make it on my Cricut mat. And I'm going to do it with a variety of greens and add some vibrant flowers to it. I'm thinking like magentas, violets, orange, those kinds of flowers. And I want to show you how I wire this. Let me grab. Now, the first vine that I cut out, I forgot that I wanted to use the other kind. My vines come in two different ways. This one has the big spot to glue a flower onto the center of, but I want to do, because it's going to be a big commitment. I'm planning on making 9 of these giant segments. Thank you. And so that is going to make a very large garland. And I want to be able to change out the flowers. So the vine also comes where there's a hole in the middle, and then you can run wire across, and that gives you something to attach a flower to, but then you can also remove it and put another flower on. And I'm still not sure what kind of flower I want to do. This Nova Rose is a really nice low profile flower, but I kind of am thinking about a fluffy peony or shrub rose too. And I'm just not sure what direction I want to go in. But I'm going to get all the vine and leaves done first. Let me remove. This is the one that I'm going to work on today. And it's 23.5 inches long. And I use large format paper that is basically about 19.75 inches by 25.75 inches. So I cut it in half long ways, and I can get 2 of these pieces of vine out of one large sheet of paper. Let me get this guy off of here, and you'll see how floppy it is when it's just the paper. And this is, what is the weight on this? I don't know, about 90-pound paper or 98-pound paper, 150 GSM, I think. So it's pretty floppy, and I will wire it. Let me move this one out of the way. What I'll do is I will hand cut a notch into this one so that I can still use it. And because of how large this is and the wire that I'm using, I use Oasis bind wire. It's a very flexible wire, easy to work with. And so I am going to double wire these vine segments just so that I have more control over what they do. So let me just quickly run this across here. The first one I won't have go all the way, but the next one that I do, I will have it extend longer than the ends of the vine, because that way I just attach segments together with that wire that's sticking out rather than working with one giant garland. That would be a difficult job. So let me run some glue along here. And then I just press it in place. And this grabs it. It's art glitter glue, dries clear with the fine metal tip. And I am working on top of a piece of wax paper so that I don't glue the vine to the table underneath. I have done that before, and it can make a big mess. So I like to work with wax paper behind it. And try to do this quickly. Not sure where this end is going to go. And I haven't decided on all the different shades of green I'm going to use yet. I think I've cut out about 4 of them so far. But I just want it to be very vibrant looking. Okay, that went about where I wanted it. Now I'll bend these back down a little bit so that it lies flat when it dries. And then I'm going to run another piece of wire alongside of it, but I will extend the wire beyond the end of the leaves so that I can attach segments together any way that I want to. And this Oasis bind wire, it's usually somewhere around $12 to $15 for this whole spool of it. I mean, it's close to 500 feet. One of these lasts a really, really long time, and I find it very useful for what I do. Let's see, and I don't have to glue it all the way to the end. I'll probably glue it to about the middle of the leaf on the end, but I just have to remember to, when I start to glue it, to start it with some of it hanging over the edge. And most any mistakes that you make doing these can be worked around, covered up. Okay, so I'll start it on this end. And then hopefully by the time I'm done wiring some of these leaves, you'll be able to see how much this stiffens up. I don't usually double wire leaves or vines when I work with them, but because this is so long, I want to get that extra support from it. Almost done with this double wiring. Do want to make sure I keep my wax paper under where I'm working. Makes it very easy. This wouldn't be too difficult, but if you're working with a smaller vine and you glue it to the table or paper behind it, that can be a little frustrating. Okay, so we'll let him dry, and I'll show you how easily I still have a section of leaves to take off of a Cricut cutting mat. And I have basically all the leaves I need for one section. I have arranged in a 12-inch by 19 3/4-inch piece. And I get 2 of these out of one sheet of paper. So I can have 2 complete sets of leaves. Now, when you're doing something like the grass and the pine branches, it's easiest if you start at the tips of them and pull towards the bottom. They come up very easily. If you try to go the other direction, it's a lot more difficult. Oh, and also I want to share with you my greatest discovery of the year. I know a lot of you probably already do this. I've been using a Cricut for years and I've never had a rubber brayer to use. I just run it over my paper before I cut, and it makes things stick so much better than pressing with my hands ever did. I used to, after a while, would tape the edges of my paper, and I don't have to do that at all anymore. And it has just made everything about cutting these out much easier. And this is a higher quality paper than cardstock, and it just, you can see how easily it comes off. And to me, that makes it worth it, besides the fact that I get the large pieces that I can more easily do large projects with. So I can just pull all of these off of here. Easy peasy. That grass is one of my favorite ones to work with. It adds really nice texture, and it's so easy to give it the shape. And these pine branches. With the pine branches, I glue 2 of them together with a piece of the wire in between. It's the only one of these that I do that with. Okay, so now I have those to work with, and I'll show you how I wire these. Actually, let me get a lighter color. I think it'll be much easier to see the bind wire on it. And I usually work either with the green or the tan bind wire, depending on the color of project I'm working on. And let's see, I will run it, up at least to the middle of the tall leaf. And I only need an inch or so sticking out to glue these to the vine. And this is one instance where I actually will use hot glue when I put it all together. Now, I do like to have them going in different directions, so I will glue the wire on one of these leafy bits with it curving this way, and then with the other one curving the other way. I think it just makes your finished product look more interesting if everything isn't exactly the same. So I just run some glue down. And this is real time, so that the art glitter glue really does grab and hold. And what's nice about this Oasis bind wire, it's a small gauge wire in the middle, and that's why I had to double the long piece that I'm working on. But it's so flexible. You can follow curves really easily, and a lot of, if it was a heavier wire, you couldn't do this. And that just stiffens that right up and makes it, I don't have to wire these. I could if I wanted to, but when it's all attached together, the other leaves on top of it help to hold them in place, so I don't feel like I need to wire those down. And it's just making this is a matter of wiring a lot of leaves. After I do this, I'll wire one of the grasses and show you how I shape it. It's really easy. Just press for a few seconds and it will hold. Let's see. I'll get this pistachio color. I really like that green. And I'll probably run the wire just up to the middle. It doesn't need to go too far on it. Good morning, Maria. Let's see. I'll cut it there. And just run the glue there. Let's see. I probably have some of these wired up somewhere, but it won't take long for that to set up. Now these, the only ones that have score lines are, these are the peony leaves, and this is included in the Leafy Bits file. The Leafy Bits includes the grass, this tri-leaf, the peony, and let's see, yes, all of these. The pine branch is a separate file, but these all have a score line, and so after I wire them, I will score them up. But I want to show you how I shape this leaf. It's kind of fun. It's just like ribbon curling. You just use, you know, a paintbrush handle or a wooden stick, and you just apply a little bit of pressure, because they can get really, you can see how they just curl super easy. So you don't want to turn them into curled ribbon, but I just like to add a little bit of movement to them. And everything, that's all there is to shaping this. And it's really nice in wreaths or garlands, or, I mean, it would be, add some nice texture even to a bouquet. So I will grab this now. Oh, I didn't. Also have to. I have to wire these branches that stick out, but that will just be with a single wire. So I want you to see the difference between how, well, it's hard to tell with those flopping around. Let me add that. So I will just put a single piece of wire out to the middle of this leaf. And I know it's the same length on the other side, so I will cut that as well. Glue them on real quick. And then I'll show you the difference of how much this wire stiffens up the very floppy piece of paper. And then you can really shape these garlands, you know, whether you want them to go over a fireplace or around a doorway. You'll have the control to make it go wherever you want it to. Let's see. The wire, and what is the name of the wire is Oasis Bind Wire, and I get it on Amazon. I think there's probably a link in my YouTube description, but it's Oasis Bind Wire. And I have occasionally, I don't know, you know, sometimes it's hard to tell what you're getting on Amazon. If you get wire and there's a lot of bare wire with the paper coming off, I have gotten some knockoff Oasis Bind Wire before, and I did not like it, and I sent it back. So that is one thing to check for, because real Oasis Bind Wire, you're not going to see much actual wire at all. It's covered with paper. But like I was saying before, it's usually $12 to $15 for a spool, and it's almost 500 feet of wire, and it goes a long ways. So I do want to add a bit here. And I know that leaf section on the other side is the same, so I'll just cut to the same length and glue it. I usually glue them close to mid-leaf. It doesn't have to be all the way up. But this just gives everything. It tells them how to behave, where we want them. And then you have a garland that is very flexible in what you can do with it. And as I was saying before, this wire runs through the center circle, and I do that so that I can change the flowers that are on it. This vine also comes where it's just a solid circle to just glue a flower onto. But because I'm going to be making such a large project, I want to be able to change those if I want to. So let me grab where did my vine go? That doesn't, here it is. That has no wire on it. I mean, when it's cut, this is a 23.5-inch vine with no wire, and it's very floppy. But after wiring it, it will be able to hold its shape. And I've got wire extending out both ends in order to attach the different sections. And also, as you, I hot glue on the different layers as I go, and that also makes it all more secure. So it ends up being a very sturdy garland. All I was going to do today was wire some of these leaves. Tomorrow I'm going to start making a flower. And what do you think? Do you think I should do like a fluffy peony? That's got more bulk to it. When I've made it before, I used the Nova Rose, and it's a pretty flat flower. And I like the way that all looks together. So I'm just not sure if I should do a fluffier flower. And I'm going to be doing bright colors like magenta and violet and orange. So I would appreciate any input on what kind of flower you think I should make. And that's what I will do tomorrow is I'll have all of these wired and I will glue the leaves on and make one of the flowers that will be going on it.